Ladies and gentlemen, this is Commander Ascorbius, and I'm not very happy. Like a lot of the community, I'm upset by the fleet carrier update, but before I go into my reasons, let me back up for just a moment and explain why this is impacting me so much. The biggest reason I'm upset is because I love this game, I love the community, and I love the very talented devs and artists, and I know how hard they work. They're working on a massive new update due at the end of the year, and I really wanted them to have a win with the fleet carrier update. Something to energize the player base so we're all ready for the end of year content. It's a pretty easy ask, really. We're pretty much willing to take anything at the moment, given the lack of content or news over the last several months. And then fleet carriers arrive for beta, and they're plagued with issues. Not bugs, but deep, conceptual problems, which should have never left the meeting room where they were first aired. In the eyes of many, this does not bode well for the end of year update. The biggest problem in this entire update is the pressure to make money. Real-time and constant pressure to make money or lose the most expensive asset a commander can own. Please understand this. Some games have a ticking clock. They have base building and expenses which occur in real time. These games are almost exclusively single-player games, which can have their progress saved and their time paused. Because real life does not stop. The game must yield when more important events occur. It's only a game. With the numbers I've seen thrown around lately for the costs of a fully decked out carrier, a player will need to earn vast amounts of money to keep it. We are talking over 100 million per week, every single week, without fail, forever, for the entire Elite Dangerous play career. This is absurd. If the player doesn't earn that money, the carrier will eventually be scrapped and the player will receive a portion of their carrier's value back based on how long they've had it. So depreciation is a factor now too. Who wrote this? Let me make something very plain. I do not play to earn credits. I play to enjoy myself. And simply watching a number increase is not a fun activity for me. I do not care about my bank balance unless I need something. I've been playing since 2016. I've been making content videos since then, and I mostly play to have fun with my friends. If I absolutely need to earn credits to get a ship or something, I will take advantage of the latest money-making exercise, providing it's not a blatant exploit. But it's not my reason for playing, and I don't want it to be. Extreme money-making efforts are generally not fun. They can be incredibly repetitive, and I only participate in them when I absolutely need to. That said, I would very much like to earn enough money eventually to get a fleet carrier, and over time, deck it out with all the features it needs. I have no problem with them being expensive to acquire, or their modules being expensive. This is fine. It gives me a goal to aim for, in my own time. But a time pressure on me is not fair. In this climate, none of us know if we're going to be safe in our jobs or our health. The current coronavirus pandemic, which is sweeping the world, could mean that any one of us could end up in hospital in intensive care without warning. Do you honestly think it's a fair thing to do to a loyal player of your game to strip that player of assets just because they couldn't play while they were sick? I stress this case as it's a very real possibility, but perhaps it's extreme. Okay, how about someone maybe going through a divorce and they don't get access to their PC or internet, or someone with depression and they can't face playing a game which pressures them in ways it never used to? They will lose their carrier because of real life events of which they had no control. Do you honestly think they'll come back from that? These are three potentially real life things which could get in the way. I'm sure I could find more if I put a little time to the task, but I think 3 highlights the problem well enough. This game is supposed to be a fantasy, an escape. It's not a second job. And the numbers I'm seeing to keep these things running, it has to be treated like a second job. It's supposed to be chill, fun. It's supposed to be enjoyed with friends. And that's what a fleet carrier is supposed to enable. But I hear they're supposed to be a means to make money on their own. It'll be like a business in the game. Commanders will be able to buy items and ships from a carrier and trade. This logic is so fatally flawed, it's laughable. For one, it depends on there being enough commanders to use the facilities for the owner of the carrier to at least make enough money to sustain them. To make 143 million credits a week, this utterly excuses commanders out of the bubble. With no way to sell exploration data, there's no economy out in deep space, no way to earn money. Do you honestly expect deep space carriers to be supported by fuel sales and limpets? Fuel and limpets are cheap. Their only option is to preload the carrier with enough funds before an expedition. That is 7.4 billion credits for a year. So the only place these carriers can expect there to be the weight of numbers of commanders and to make any kind of money will be in the bubble, a place where there is no end of stations and outposts which to buy anything you need cheaper. Adding to this is the reality that people will use external tools to find ships and commodities anyway, a reality which only exists due to a failure with the in-game tools. If you want to find a ship, go to Inara. Enter the ship you want, and where you are, it'll find you the cheapest place nearby. You cannot do this in-game, so players will ignore carriers selling ships at a markup. Impacting this further is that ships have to be purchased in blocks. Packs of ships where the carrier commander needs to spend a fortune buying ships they know they cannot sell. This doesn't happen in the real world, apart from sale or return deals. There is no sale or return in Elite. Quite why this idea was given enough thought to allocate developer time utterly befuddles me. Ships are also purchased at the same cost as retail. This is not how commerce works. The recommended retail price includes a profit margin for the store selling it. Shops don't buy the goods at RRP. The carrier should purchase ships and modules they want to sell at a greatly reduced price. It would then be up to the carrier commander how much they charge for these items. If they choose to sell the items cheap out of their own pocket, that's their choice. If they wish to make a fortune selling items at an inflated cost where they're needed, and it's what the commanders are willing to pay, that is commerce. There's also no way to sell specialty items, which need to be unlocked. Why? Why not? Gameplay reasons? What reasons are these? If a commander has unlocked these items, what's stopping them from selling them to other commanders who've also unlocked them? What is the reason? If a commander's high enough ranked for the faction navy, why can't they sell rank-locked ships to other commanders who've also achieved that rank? These reasons are what are irritating me. I've seen images of the carriers with ship kits and paint, and they look amazing. It's just such a shame that a half-thought-out time pressure was shoehorned into the feature, a feature which makes the carrier useless to a large number of players, explorers, and even bounty hunters. Combat doesn't pay nearly enough to sustain a carrier. It barely pays for ammo. The only people who can afford these are the miners, who have only recently been able to make vast amounts of money mining low-temperature diamonds and void opals, an activity which has caused Frontier to alter the market to prevent such easy access to credits. But answer me this. If Frontier don't want us to make credits so easily, why are the upkeep costs of carriers so prohibitively high? Are you sure you've ran the numbers on this? This is Commander Scorpius. Have a good time and fly aimless.